Last week was a pretty low week as the obstacles piled up and things slowed down a tad. Even so, we did see some movement on the engine front with Engine Pit back on the scene. And Auto Mike proudly showed me that our starter motor was working. With Markiplier Chris off sick, Bram and Nikki completed the shelving in our inside cupboard. As soon as Chris was back at his post, work on our second gorgeous cupboard door began. And in no time at all it was installed, although we did hit a little problem in that the damn door cannot open as wide as it needs to. This week is a cracker of a week. Our 4.5 meter awnings bracket arrives, and the bracket and the awning case gets an extreme makeover. Our man Talent seals off all the compartments and gets Meraai ready to be primed. Nikki gets to work on our insulation installation for the ceiling, and we install our roof vent above the bed. All this and a murr of a lot more in episode 106 of A Dream Called Meraai. Last week was a bit of a downer, so here are some pretty shots of my little village of Leisure Bay to set the tone for this week's episode and to soften the blow of the news that we are taking a 2-week break. It is a new week, it is a new day, and it is busy in East Coast Scratch and Dent. There is a lot going on, so hopefully we're going to have a jam-packed edition for you. And lots happening. Busy indeed. It was great to see our awning up on trestles in the workshop. We got some movement on our awning here. We've had a bracket made. I mean, this is a long awning. It's 4.5 meters long. So this bracket here it's attached to Meraai, and then the housing for the awning gets secured to the bracket. Bram just said to me now that we're going to make it so it's removable, so if anything ever happens to the awning we can take it off, the bracket will stay behind. And it's strong, and it needs to be, because this thing, you're driving with it, it's taking the force of all the elements when you're on the road. Because of the force, we need to make sure that the bracket holding the awning is secure as solidly as possible to Meraai's roof. Holes are drilled along the top and bottom of the bracket where rivets will be used to secure it in place. Next, the bracket and awning housing get some added protection. The awning and the bracket has now had a little session in the paint shop. This bracket is made of mild steel. We were initially going to do something in stainless steel, but it was so blooming heavy, and it's constructed in such a way that it actually consists of a little gutter. Along the whole 4.5 meter length of it, there'll be a 10 mil difference in height, so we just have a little bit of runoff. Obviously, you've got to level the vehicle when you're stopping to camp, just so any water on the roof runs off and doesn't come bombing down where we are sitting under our awning. But I'm very happy. This is looking really good. Back at Meraai, Nikki was working with the green candy floss we are using to insulate our interior, isotherm. Nikki's starting to seal up the inside. We're busy cutting the isotherm, which gets packed onto the ceiling. We then put that bubble wrap, the silver bubble wrap, which my mate Pierre de Brain donated to me. Thank you, Pierre. It's been used now. And then our ceiling will come in. So we're going to have a good insulation on the inside in our roof. What Nikki is busy doing has been done before. People who've been following us for a long time will remember months and months ago, we put all of this insulation and it all looked stunning. We installed it, it looked great. And then it all got ripped out because we realized we had to run wires and stuff. This time, however, by sealing the green isotherm into place with the foil bubble wrap, means there is no going back. While sussing out our Nikki's handiwork, I was given a pleasant surprise. It's also lucky to see our vent has been installed. We got quite a big vent because I do not want to have an issue with moisture on the inside and humidity. That's why we got lots of windows, this big vent, And yeah, hopefully we get the air moving through this vehicle when you're parked, particularly when it's cold. The vent is tucked away behind the solar panel. This vent also has a built-in insect screen. Meraai's roof space is all used up for now. Everything is going peachy. Then a snag. When I came through to East Coast Scratch and Dent this morning, I was greeted with Brom, who sort of said, "Come here, I need to show you something." And when he says that, I'll go, uh-oh. So what's happened is the ceiling material that I bought, which is PVC sheets, is a little bit too narrow to fit exactly where the supports on the roof are. Nicky's been going around and attaching strips of aluminium on all the gaps, so we have got a surface to attach our roofing material to. Nicky was fast out of the stalls, cutting aluminium strips to secure into the ceiling supports, and the snag was sorted. Now let's look at what caused that snag. And this is it. This is my ceiling material. It is lightweight, very light, it's strong, and it's got like a honeycomb effect, which is going to help us even more with our insulation on the roof. You can see now it's just too thin to be able to secure on the inside. I got this from builders, and it is really not expensive. It's so I think it's going to work very well, and it's going to look very lacquer. Just to show you how lacquer, Bram and Chris hauled one of the sheets into Meraai. The ceiling boards linked together using a tongue and groove, and I cannot wait to see them in their final resting place. Outside, there was movement on Meraai's body panels. What else is also happening is the guys are busy sealing up all the compartments because it is time to start to prime the bodywork. Talent makes sure all openings are taped closed. Soon, all this patchwork you see on the body will be a thing of the past. Everything is now being covered up and we are ready to start priming. And the man doing that priming is none other than our Hopalong Cassidy engine Pete. The paint fumes are pretty hectic, so Pete takes all the necessary precautions. Tell me about this primer. What is it?
It's a HS primer, filler primer. So it fills up little defects and stuff that's still there that you can't see with your eye.
Okay.
So when you sand it down, it comes to a smooth finish with a 600-800 sanding paper.
This is exciting stuff. Our Meraai is so close to getting her overcoat. Panel by panel, Pete works around the vehicle. Notes are just saying Meraai is busy getting her panty on, her bra and her panty. Haar onderklede, underclothes. I have seen some amazing body art on hot bodies, and our Meraai is no exception. The only difference between Meraai and a 45 kilogram nude model is about 3.5 tons. All the more to love. Hopalong Cassidy engine Pete will apply around 3 coats of the primer. Then the elbow grease work begins. This is a critical part of the primer process, and this is how the primer gets its silky smooth finish. Let's just discuss prime for a moment. Now you get prime time, like TV, like watching Meraai, that's prime time. You get prime circle, not a bad South African band. You get prime rib, which is very, very lacquer, and then you get a prime pupil. Now, prime pupil, for all you foreign viewers, the best way to describe it would be someone who, you know, when you're watching telly and you drop the remote of your car, you know, you drop it and it gets lost in the couch, and you go digging there to find it. A prime pupil hides his money in the couch, and then when you're looking for the TV remote, you find all these bucks. Brew, you hide that money in your neighbor's couch, not your own, because that's when you get caught. So that is a prime pupil. I must admit, not a day goes past where I wish I was a prime pupil with a bucket of cash stashed in my couch. Anyone who has ever had to do a paint job on a car knows it is not a cheap exercise. Our Meraai here is like the equivalent of 2 or 3 little cars, so you can just imagine the paint. She's not cheap. I headed home after one hell of an amazeballs day. This is what greeted me in the morning. It is a Wednesday, And this time last week, we were in a world of pain. When I arrived at East Coast Scratch and Dent, I discovered that Rocky had left us, and Chris was off sick, and everything just slowed right down. Well, what a difference today. The awning is up. The awning is up. And Donnie posted a message on the Motorhome Club of South Africa's Facebook page late last night saying, how do you attach an awning to a motorhome? Donnie, you do that, bro. You do that. If you are keen, I will get Bram's contact details to you. Please message me personally, and he can let you know what we did, but I am going to show you. So Donnie, here you can see our bracket, and you can see how it's been secured to the vehicle. It's been secured, and it has been, it looks like it's been riveted like staunchly all the way along here. And we've incorporated a gutter to get rid of any unwanted water. That's the bracket. You could swing off this bracket without a problem. We still need to insert a less powerful gas strut on this rear window so the window does not interfere with the awning when it is rolled out. I then noticed off-grid Donald and Bram working on a very odd-looking braai grill, something that looks as though it grills a lot of chickens. I then noticed Donald's footwear. Now what's going on behind me, and which is quite disturbing, it's firstly is seeing Donald wearing white Crocs. That's scary stuff. But the other thing is, this is a shoe rack. Now I'm not even going to mention who it's for, because I know this lady and she will blitzen me. So, but that's a rack for all her shoes. So my question for you folks who are watching this, let me know in the comments, how many of you have got like a full-on room or a whole cupboard for your shoes or your missus's shoes? And who has got the most? Send us some pics, I'll put them on the show. I'll start. These are my shoes. One for formal occasions, and these are my everyday use shoes. Every day it seems as though Markiplier Chris is still working on our doors. At least today, he has shifted his focus back to the driver's door. And as we've become used to with Meraai, nothing is straightforward. So Chris has now moved across to the driver's side to start working on that door, and this is what he's found.
This beam here, so it was rotten on the inside, a big piece, this whole piece here.
Okay.
And that's what supports this.
Yeah.
The door frame. It's going to support your seat. So we go backwards again. First fix that before we can carry on.
Chris climbs in immediately and removes the throt steel, and in no time at all has replaced it with good solid steel. The driver's door will carry most of the traffic, so it must be 100%. It also forms part of the base for our front wheel arch. Chris is doing a great job at reinforcing this area, and things are moving forward in the right direction. However, there is still so much work to be done in this department. Speaking of departments, I recently had a pleasant experience with a state department, nogal. Because Meraai is still registered as a bus, even though we're not going to be transporting passengers, I've already got my heavy duty license, I am going to need a professional driver's permit, a PDP, or it's a PDPR or something these days. So a little shout out to the South African Police Services in Port Edward and a guy there called Bruce who helped me with my police clearance. Thanks so much, Bruce. It went very quickly. I've now got my medical questionnaire filled out. I had my eyes tested, and now it's a matter of handing in the paperwork and waiting for that PDP. As soon as we've done the homologation process, we don't need that anymore, because then this is classified as a motorized caravan, I think it is, and we also pay less of a license fee and less at the toll roads, which will be fantastic. More fantastic news is that with the awning in place, off-grid Donald can now work on our exterior lighting. Our work lights on this side of the vehicle are quite important because this is the living side of the vehicle. So we've got all our cooking area here, other storage areas over there. So Donald is busy just finalizing and putting my work lights on little brackets, and what's very lucky is they're hidden away just beneath the awning. We're also going to have a work light top middle shining down for when we need to work on this storage area, or if we ever need to take the spare wheel off at night. As has become the norm, we're about to make some more changes in the lights department. The rear corners are in place and suddenly they are begging for some attention. Alright, another wee little change. Behind me you can see a newly installed corner column, which looks very lacquer, and below it you can see a gap. And down there there's a square gap. That square gap is for these babies, which we're going to go down there. Well, we've decided they're going to go there vertically, and we'll add one more red, so we'll have a red at the top of the bottom and the other two lights on the inside. But it will look so much better like that than like that. Time is slipping by and Meraai is really beginning to look like the vehicle we have always dreamt about. Well, what a week was that. Packed with info. Yeah, things are really, we're starting to see a very clear picture of what our end product is going to look like. Still a lot to do. A few more of you are going to fall at the wayside now from the t-shirt competition, and they are... Sorry, Orchard, I wish your 5th of December prediction was on point. And lo, your guess of the 9th of December is also not gonna happen. Who will fall out next? But never mind, there's a whole lot of you that are still in the running for those limited edition t-shirts. Yeah, holidays are coming up. Roads are going to be very busy. Please guys, get your vehicles checked. A lot of the service stations these days give you a free checkup. Your tire pressure, water levels, basic stuff, your wheel nuts. Really, if you're going to hit the road, just be very careful. I'm off to Joburg now. We will be back in 2 weeks time, so look after yourselves, look after your loved ones, drive carefully and keep safe. Remember to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You will find us under A Dream Called Meraai. Until next time, keep your dreams alive.